So what's the Grape Explorer talking about today? Well, one of the most interesting areas to me personally is Spain. Spain has always been something of a challenge for me because of my kind of roots in, doing a lot of wines from France and a lot of wines from Italy. And Spain was something of always been a curiosity of mine because I love Spanish wines. But I broke out a wine today that I do have a little bit of history behind. This is a wine that's called Priorat, and this is from Alvaro Palacios. And one of the most unique stories that I want to tell you and explain a little bit about me. I was in Florida as an importer, and a friend called me up and said that he had a Spanish producer that was looking for an importer based in at least Miami at that time, because obviously there's a large Hispanic population down there. So he brought this gentleman to my office. His name was Alvaro Palacios, who's quite famous today, by the way. A lot of people know him as the top producer in Priorat. So I wanted to give not only a shout out to Alvaro Palacios, congratulations. We're talking close to 25, 30 years ago. Nobody really knew these wines from this region. And I'm going to point it out too because, based on its proximity, this is called Catalan. So we're all the way over here on this Mediterranean side of the coast here. And Priorat is right here. And what's unique about Priorat is its volcanic soils. So when you taste a lot of these wines, they're very terraced. They obviously are mountainous wines. The key grape here is called a Garnacha, which is in France, as we talked about when we were doing Maury and Bagnoul is in this area, where it's Grenache. This basic grape over here is called Garnacha. And they also blend in a little Carignan, which is Carigna, down in this region. But what they do produce here is what I consider to be some of the finest wines in all of Spain. And a lot of people really don't know these wines, but I wanted to highlight these wines today with you and at least give you a little bit of an understanding because, quite honestly, the most famous wines in Spain are Rioja, which everybody knows. Then you also have Ribera de Duero, which are really, really great wines. I would say up there is Priorat, but we're talking 30 years ago, there were pioneers and people that really didn't spend a lot of time making these wines. There was also a lot of, if you want to say, co-ops in those days in that area. So Alvaro was one of the unique young guys to identify Priorat as one of the finest areas in all of Spain. And when you taste these wines, you can get that, what we call that volcanic ash. I know that sounds a little mysterious because a lot of people say, well, what does it actually taste like? Well, you get a lot of smokiness, obviously, out of volcanic ash. But when you get Carignan and you get also Grenache that are grown in these volcanic soils, you get a very interesting mix of flavors with the minerality expression. Beautiful nose, though. You get all that smoky kind of blueberry and blackberry kind of fruits from the Grenache. You get very dried figs, beautiful blast of that blackcurrant fruit, and you get that beautiful elegance of that minerality expression that we can taste from these volcanic soils. So if you really want to learn about Spanish wines and you want to try an area that you might not have ever tried, or if you want to really learn from one of the true masters of what I would call Priorat, look for a bottle of Alvaro Palacios. This is called La Terrazas. Some of his wines are going for anywhere between $500 to $1,000 a bottle. You can start with this wine though. This can be had for about $40 a bottle. Usually it'll give you the beginning stages of what we feel is a very, very good old vine. We're talking 100-year-old vine, Grenache vines here. And then you steadily move up the ladder to where he's got identified what we call like Grand Cru zones in Priorat. Again, some of these wines, $500 to $1,000 a bottle. Back in those days, I thought it was a little adventurous for me. So to get involved with these wines, as soon as he told me the prices, it kind of like, wow, it kind of scared me off. And of course, everybody knew Rioja. Everybody knew Ribera de Duero. Nobody really knew these wines. Now they know them. This is rock star material in Spain. Again, this is the Grape Explorer, talking about grapes and talking about wine.